Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks YouTube channel. I'm Devon Davidson. With me, as always, my co-host, Bruce Gunther. Bruce, what's happening?
Not much. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's
You know
Friday.
what? I managed to get this thing going live with one click, not three.
That's
And
good.
hopefully I don't sound like I'm underwater today.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Okay, so let's get into it like we do every day. NHL today, we're going to cover off game previews and picks, as well as DFS plays and some prop bets. Let's just kick it off, Bruce. Let's eat our vegetables right away. Get them out of there. Let's talk about how bad the Edmonton Oilers were last night.
Or better, let's just talk about how good the Colorado Avalanche were last night.
Okay, that's maybe a better way to look at it.
Because I don't think the Edmonton Oilers stayed at the hotel last night. They didn't bother showing up for the game. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was good except for a span of about, what was that, 3 minutes?
2 minutes. I think it was 2:04 or 2:02, something. Basically 2 minutes. They were not good.
Yeah, but basically, yeah.
I mean, it was actually I was impressed with the way they played the first period, Bruce. They looked pretty good. I think the shots were 15-13 in favor of the Avs, but they killed off that 5-on-3 and they had another penalty I think they killed off. Like they did well in that regard, and I thought after the first period, okay, for a road game that actually went just fine. Let's see how the second period goes.
Yeah. And like you said, it was just over 2 minute span. They went on holidays, and it was 3-0, just like that.
Well, with the Avalanche, you can't turn over pucks like unforced error, right? Turnover in your defensive zone. Kadri picks it up, flips it on net, and Lehkonen got a nice tip on that puck to put it in, but which kind of ticked me off because then we didn't hit our anytime scorer prop bet for Nazem Kadri, but it might not have gone in had he not tipped it. So, turnovers in the defensive zone, turnovers in the neutral zone, and the Avs are just constantly going the other way, 2-on-1. 3-on-2s, like they're forechecking hard, right? That's you and I are talking about this off air.
Yeah, it just when you sat and watched the game, it just optically wasn't pretty for the Oilers. It was Colorado. Edmonton was basically one and done in the zone, and Colorado was just skating circles around them again.
Nathan MacKinnon led the way for the Avs last night. He had 1 goal, 11 shots, Bruce, 12 shot attempts, 8 scoring chances, 4 high danger, 3 hits in 20 and a half minutes time on ice. Nazem Kadri, again, like I said, 3 primary assists, 2 penalty minutes, 4 shots on goal, 9 shot attempts, 8 scoring chances, a couple of hits in just under 17 minutes time on ice. So he's been really, really good for the Avs lately.
So basically, those two had more high danger scoring chances than the entire Edmonton Oilers team last night.
They sure did, yeah. So I looked that up. The Oilers had 7 high danger chances total, the entire team through 3 periods.
Yeah, so McKinnon and Kadri had more than the entire team put together. That is pretty. It's not good if you want to win.
It doesn't look good, and I think I'm going to stand by what I said yesterday. I know there's a lot of chatter online that it's 2 games, it's a 7-game series, but you know what? The Oilers just simply look like they can't play with the Colorado Avalanche right now, and that's coming from an Oilers fan. I'm wearing an Oilers hat, but they look like they're in a different league, and unless they can pick up their play at home, Bruce, I'm not convinced they're going to turn it around.
Yeah, I just watched in some of the plays last night that Makar and Taves were making on McDavid. Like, McDavid can skate, and they had no trouble staying with him. Yeah. They made McDavid look human last night.
They did. Actually, well, between him and Draisaitl, they were held to 4 shots collectively, 5 shot attempts, and a total of 1 scoring chance.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do that, you're against the Oilers. You're going to win a lot of games if you can keep those guys to 1 scoring chance.
Yeah, not ideal. Mike Smith did sort of bounce back, I guess.
It was slightly better than the game 1.
He was better, yeah. He only gave up the 4 goals, 3.95 goals against average, an .893 save percentage, and just a negative 1.25 goals saved above expected.
Just that 2 minutes in the second period. That's all it was.
So my question to you, Bruce, is who starts Game 3 for the Oilers in Edmonton on Saturday night?
Yeah, it'll be Smith again.
That wouldn't surprise me either. I think if he flops again, I think, what do you use that last bullet? Do you play Koskinen in Game 4?
Possibly, but you look at last night's games, a lot of those goals, I don't know if you could blame Smith on any of those goals. That was just some terrible turnovers, and I don't know if you can really that Letkinen tip. I just don't know if you can blame Smith for a lot of those goals. Like,
No, the Lekkinen tip you can't blame him for. The McKinnon goal, his glove was off. I mean, I know he shot blocker side, but it's like that's obviously a distraction if you're a goaltender.
yeah, and I don't think he was expecting him to go short side. I think he expected him to go far side too. So
yeah, one was on the power play, right, Bruce? Or was it two?
I think just one.
That was the other thing. Oh yeah, right. Because the Oilers held them to one power play goal. They had 7 power play opportunities for the Avs last night to the Oilers 2. So, I'll wholeheartedly agree that a few of those penalties were just undisciplined plays by the Oilers. But there were a few soft calls in there too, and I really don't think the Avs need any additional help to beat the Edmonton Oilers.
That one penalty that I forget who it took on McKinnon. Oh my God, McKinnon should have got an Oscar for that.
Yeah,
he didn't even touch his face, and McKinnon that was almost like a LeBron James-esque flop there.
They're looking for the calls, right? You can tell.
Oh, absolutely.
They're trying to get him, and it's frustrating to watch, honestly, but. It's not the only factor. Obviously, they've had their way with the Oilers here through 2 games. And the last piece of news here is that Kyler Yamamoto is out with an upper body injury. We don't know what his status is for Saturday night's game, but that would be a big loss for them. He's been very effective on the forecheck and on the penalty kill, I believe, as well. So,
yeah, and the question there, if he can't go, who comes in?
Dylan Holloway.
It's kind of who I was thinking. Throw him right into the fire and see how he does.
There's lots of cases where young players have stepped in and they've made their appearance in the playoffs. Look at Cale Makar a few years ago. And I'm not saying Holloway is Cale Makar, but there's lots of documented cases where it's worked. Yeah. If you're in game 3 or 4 and you're down a man, I mean, give the kid a shot and see what he can do.
Yeah. Look at what Cole Caulfield did last year, right? The playoffs.
Yeah. Like, you got to give him a shot sometime. Why not now?
Yeah. And two, I watched the replay of Landeskog's hit on Yamamoto. Mm-hmm. I didn't find anything wrong with it. So I saw there was some chatter about someone should get the player safety to look at it. I didn't, got to remember Landeskog is tall and Yamamoto short. So the height there didn't do him any favors, but it didn't look like a terrible hit to me.
No, it looked fine to me, honestly. And this is just another case of the game, like the fan base and their palate for overly physical play is changed, right? It's like, so every hit now that we see, there's somebody who's concerned about it, and in this one, it looked fine to me. I don't think the head was the principal point of contact. There was just that big difference in heights, and obviously Yamamoto was rattled. So,
that McDavid hit on Cogliano was pretty nice too.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, he took a bit of a shot from Cogliano's helmet, but that's what you want, right? Connor McDavid in a game like that, you want to see him making hits.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's engaged in the game. Then if he's making hits.
He's not going to quit. Connor and Leon are going to push right until the end, and I'm not giving up hope yet, Bruce, but it looks dire.
Yeah, it's not looking good right now. We'll see what Game 3 looks like tomorrow night. The Oilers better find another gear, or they're going to be down 3-0 real fast.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that on Monday when we get back on our live stream. But for now, maybe let's get into our Eastern Conference final preview. Game number 2, Tampa and New York. I'll pull up our presentation here, Bruce. We've got Tampa at -130 on the money line and the Rangers at +110 on the money line. I think that hasn't changed from the other game, if I remember correctly. But so a couple of interesting notes here, Bruce, for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've won a conference final twice after losing Game 1. So in 2015, it was actually, interestingly enough, against the Rangers, and in 2021, so last year, against the Islanders.
And that series went 7.
That's right. And so they're in Tampa. They're not panicking, obviously, down one game. They're 15-5 all time following a loss in a conference final, including a perfect 5-0 record since 2020. And in all playoff situations, they're 17-0 following a playoff loss.
That's a pretty darn good record, I would say.
That's insane. Yeah. So some other things here. Tampa on the road, 4-3, 2.57 goals for per game, 3 goals against per game, 89.3% penalty kill, which is 3rd in the league on the road, and then 25.8% power play, which is 5th. One thing I think we can expect is a better game out of Andrei Vasilevskiy, who in those games following a loss, Bruce, You'll like this. 1.47 goals against average, a 942 save percentage, and 5 shutouts.
Can't argue with those numbers.
No, so some really good things, and I think that's going to kind of play into my my pick here for game 2. Just really quickly, some numbers here. Kucherov, 8 points, 2 goals in 7 games. Hedman, 7 points, 2 goals in 7 road playoff games. And then for the Rangers, they are actually 7-1 at home in these playoffs. And this probably goes back to your point, Bruce, about being nervous about your pick.
Yeah.
They've been great. They've outscored their opponents 35-18 at home in the playoffs. And their lone loss at home came against Pittsburgh, Game 1, Round 1, triple OT.
Yeah, that's an impressive look for a home record.
Yeah,
like
so
you look at Tampa's numbers, you look at the Rangers' numbers. Still taking Tampa tonight, but it's cautiously optimistic because it's whose numbers are going to whose numbers are going to continue and whose numbers are going to drop tonight.
And then so Zibanejad at home, 11 points, 5 goals in 8 home playoff games. Fox also has 11 points and 3 goals in 8 playoff games, and then Shesterkin has a franchise best 7 straight wins at home. So the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be in tough, but I am going to take them here tonight. -1.5 on the puck line at plus 200. That's a pretty juicy bet in my estimation. I'm going to take that one. Bruce, you agree? I just left it on the money line for demonstration purposes here, but I have to believe they're going to bounce back and at least even up this series. But it could be iffy, like you said.
Yeah, I guess I'm picking Tampa, but I'm a little nervous about it after. It just looked how easily the Rangers went through Tampa in Game 1. So it's and you look back at the regular season record too, which they say, yeah, well, you should probably throw that out, but they manhandled the Lightning in the regular season too. So it's got me a little nervous.
Yeah, for sure. Your Stanley Cup prediction is on the line, Bruce.
Yeah, it sure is.
So the keys for tonight, I think Vasilevskiy is going to have to be the better goaltender tonight. Shesterkin has been at home in this series so far, obviously, but I think the numbers, like I'd mentioned earlier, so Vasilevskiy can make good on those numbers from previous years. They'll be okay. I think they need their depth scoring to come through. So guys like Corey Perry, Ross Colton, Nick Paul, they've all done really well so far on the road in the playoffs. They'll need those guys to show up again tonight.
Definitely.
The PK is going to have to stop the Rangers because the Rangers have a good power play. Obviously, they're at 36%, I believe, at home in these playoffs. And so if they can stop the power play, they'll be in good shape there. And then for the Rangers, they just need their top 6. They need Zibanejad, Fox, and Chytil to come through, and that kid line. So if they can come through again.
Yeah, they just need to continue doing what they're doing right now.
Yeah. So there you have it. Records to date, I am 46 for 76 at 60.5%. You're at 52.63, 40 for 76. Let's talk about prop bets here. We'll start with our shot props like we always do. I'm going to go with Adam Fox, over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 150. So at home right now, Bruce, he's actually averaging 3.12 shots on goal per game and just shy of 6 shot attempts. I think for him to get 3 shots tonight on goal shouldn't be a real challenge for him.
Not the way they've been playing lately, no.
And then for the Lightning, I've got Steven Stamkos here, over 3.5 shots on goal at plus 130. He had 6 shots in Game 1. He's averaging just about 3.5 shots on goal per game through the playoffs on the road, and then 5.5 shot attempts. So I think in a game like this, it's obviously very important. I think Stamkos is going to step up his game a little bit, and that's a bet I'm willing to make.
And most definitely, he's making that many shot attempts in the game. That's good.
Goal props here. I've got SCorey Perry just for John's delight. Anytime goal plus 285. He actually leads Lightning skaters in goals with 3 in road games this postseason. Also in road games, 4th in individual scoring chances for, and tied for 2nd in individual high danger chances. So some good things there, like from Corey Perry. And then I like both Zibanejad and Chytil tonight. But if you want a bit more juice on your prop bet, I'd look at Filip for an anytime goal at plus 350. Both players have 5 goals in 8 home playoff games in this playoffs. I know you're a big fan of Chytil and the kid line.
I do. I like that line. It's
fun to watch.
Very much so.
Okay, and then on goalie saves, Andrei Vasilevskiy over 27.5 saves at minus 115. He's faced the second most shots on the road this postseason at 32.3, and he's made an average of 29.3 saves per game. So in my mind, that's a fairly safe prop bet to go with tonight, especially just given his record in past playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. In the amount of shots they peppered on him here in game one, it's probably see that here in game two.
Okay, DFS picks. Just for some of the reasons I mentioned, Zibanejad, I like him again tonight at home. Obviously, you're going to have to spend up for him at $10,000. 12.4 fantasy points per game, but he's averaged just about 18 in his last 6 games played. Kucherov has been the leading scorer for the Lightning, $9,600. Adam Fox has been phenomenal, leads all defensemen in playoff scoring, $8,400 there. Vasilevskiy, like for the reasons I mentioned, and then Ross Colton has just been a really nice value play, and I think he'll come through for them tonight. So my showdown lineup looks like Chytil is my captain at $8,100, Zibanejad, Fox, Kucherov, Hedman, and Colton.
And mine doesn't look a whole lot different than yours, except we've got center the same, wingers the same, defenseman's the same, goalie's the same, except for utility player. I've got Chytil, hoping that he continues along doing what he's doing. And then for my showdown, my captain is Zibanejad, 15,000, Kucherov, Adam Fox, Colton, Chytil, and SCorey Perry.
We like SCorey Perry.
We do like SCorey Perry.
As long as he's not playing against the Edmonton Oilers, we like SCorey Perry.
Exactly.
Okay, that does it for another live stream at noon here, Bruce. I forgot to mention at the top of the episode here, we are a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock. If you haven't listened to our podcast yet, go check it out. Weekly episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at FHHacks, on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Check out our website, fantasyhockeyhacks.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the juicy hockey-related content. Bruce, we will talk to you again tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow. We'll talk to you on Monday.
On Monday. We'll see you then.
Okay, take care.
Bye.